Should be a belter. Really, really excited for this one. Dave McNamara is in the house. So too is Tom Ford, who has the first break. Cut break is the choice for the snooker pro. 8 ball was in motion straight away. He had some serious fun with that golden break in the Pro Cup. Probably getting a little bit of PTSD from that 8 ball going close to the pockets off the break after what Jordan Shepherd did to him. But no friends either way for Tom Ford, so Dave McNamara first to the table.
Yeah, he did say though, and you heard that on the interview, that the frustration of the break, he hasn't been back in pool for long, but the frustration of the break is already there for him. He was disappointed at the Pro Series. The break really wasn't working out for him. So
yeah, once a pool player, always a pool player.
Yeah, exactly.
First shot is key here for Dave McNamara. It's a good pot.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a congested, messy table. The 2 reds at the top, you can make the plant, but it would send 1 red towards the yellows and the 8 ball, which isn't ideal. And
was there an element with that shot of just taking reds and then just sort of getting to work, or do you think they see the finish here?
I think he sees the finish. I just think it's the way he sees the game. He's very aggressive.
Well, that was aggressive.
Yeah, but he's going to continue here because he feels like he's got the colour set. He could go for the double, which opens up the ones at the top, which once they're open, then there's a route out. He'd want to leave the other one at the top where it is. That becomes his last ball. So if he plays the double here, avoid the other red, get the cue ball back out somewhere near the middle of the table.
Well, he is an excellent doubler of the board, Dave McNamara.
He really is. And yeah, very good, you know, not trying to overdo it there. He always knew he had this plant, and the red does go left centre. So he's sort of in a great position now where everything gets out. He just needs to get somewhere near straight-ish on his last ball top left. It's key that he does that.
I'm surprised he played it that way.
Yeah, I was as well, actually. I thought there was, if you play it slower with more control, may have been a better way to go, but he wants to come back for this red into the corner. So maybe, no, it definitely goes in the left centre. So he's caused himself a problem anyway.
Well, he's now in big trouble. It was difficult to row back when you're this far into a finish, but that's what he's going to try and do. Not the first time these two have met either. Dave McNamara got the better of Tom Ford in the second event in Blackpool a few weeks ago. And even at this early juncture of Tom Ford's pool career, it's one of those where you always you want to get back when you've had losses.
Yeah, and I actually spoke to...
That's a very good shot.
It is. I spoke to McNamara about that match earlier today, and yeah, he just said it was a very high-quality match. I think it was 8-4 in the end, and majority of the frames were just clearances off the break. He got more chances than Tom did, which plays out in the fact that Tom's frustrated with his break at the moment. I've known McNamara a long time, and I don't think I've ever seen him look as confident with his own game at the moment. He's in a really good place with the way his game's shaping up. Cueing really well and taking out a lot of finishes. Really tracking in the right direction in his career at the moment. I think the yellow below the 8 ball goes to the same pocket as the 8 ball, so top right. So it's the other one that's the problem. And well, he tried to play into it there, and he's just nudged it, which has opened it up to 1 pocket. It's just whether he can get to it in that pocket.
Well, this shot suggests that he thinks he can. Oh, he's tried to go into it. Oh, what a good shot that is. Has he tied up the other yellow? I think he may have.
Yeah, good news, bad news. Might even have to take the one past the 8 ball here.
Well, is he on the one nearest the red as a double?
Yeah, if he is, it might not be the worst choice. I think the red might just be in the way of the double, the one nearest the right centre pocket. If he floats to middle of the table here, he actually has an angle. Yeah, you come 2 cushions and get on the same yellow, and you'd love to finish short of that yellow, so you then just stun up the table. Not that short though. He's 2-3 more rolls. Can he still hold this? It's tough.
He thinks he can hold it off the red, I think.
Yeah, he might try and play into the red, but this is now very thin. Too thin.
Well, he probably didn't think he could overcut that. Well, this frame has gone back and forth, to say the least.
Opening frames are always huge, but especially in these short 20-minute matches, races to 4.
Oh, a 6-minute frame to kick things off. You've got some decent odds on that between these two.
Yeah, quite a bit of back and forth. And Deej will be happy because he's going to win it, and he's also going to win it off a Tom Ford break as well. That'll be in the back of his mind here.
Yeah, becoming more and more like the serve in tennis is the break in pool, the way things are tracking at the moment. But Dave McNamara is on the scoreboard. He goes 1-0 in front. Super player is Deej. I mentioned at the start of the show that he's knocking on that door, part of that next generation, still not that old, mid to late 20s, and that's a relative nipper in the game at this stage. He's got a long career in front of him, already a junior world champion, and he's now at home really in the pro ranks. You know, some players take a few years to sort of transition because they go from being a big shark in a small pond to being a very small fish in a very big ocean when it comes to the pro ranks. But Dave's at home with that now.
The thing I'm impressed with McNamara is he's really run with it as well. And what I mean by that is, you know, some players, you know, they take their pro status and they don't treat it professionally, if that makes sense. But he's putting the hours in. You know, it's a, you know, he treats it the right way. He puts the hours in, practices hard. Well, he seeks out good players to practice against as well.
Well, he's not happy with that dry break, no doubt about that. But I mean, you saw there from his bio that the last little bit on there was #1 black ball player in the country in 2022. I mean, that's county. He's still grafting.
Well, he plays in everything. Yeah. I mean,
He's on the table more than the cloth.
Yeah, he is. He plays in everything. And I mean, he was in a tournament this past weekend and won a very good event. You know, he plays the lot. Fair play to him if you're going to put that sort of time in. And I don't really care what the level of tournament is. If you're winning tournaments, you're breeding confidence. And you know, there's a lot of good players in that tournament he won this past weekend as well.
Yeah, beat Ultimate Pool Pro Rob Warren in the final.
Tom flying through this finish. This is what we mean about the 15 seconds a shot. Really isn't a worry for him.
Yeah, he's got a brilliant flow about him in this form of the game, does Tom Ford. Just when he's on the snooker table, of course, but yeah, terrific player to watch. Here is Tom Ford. Had fantastic success in the snooker world. 5 career maximum breaks. Made some waves last year, UK Championship semi-finalist. But in the pool world, his career was mainly as a junior.
I think his best performance was a quarterfinals at the Worlds, I think. It was a good run there years ago. It's not
with records were kept on pen and paper back
then.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think he ended up losing to Carl Morris back in the day in the quarterfinals. But yeah, no, a very good pool player. Oh, he didn't hit those very well. Not his best. Didn't open particularly well at all. That makes it a bit more of a congested layout, but doesn't mean it's not a good chance here for McNamara. Yeah, when you analyse reds, you realise the only one that's a big problem would have been the 8-ball, and goes straight into it. Every chance to be on something off that, and he certainly is. And now he can pick a route.
Dave bumps the 8-ball, and that should help him out. One of those finishes that looks really congested when it starts out, but actually when it starts to unfold.
Yeah, I was with him when he was practicing earlier on, and was actually fascinated to watch how he went about quite a few of his finishes. And he said he's really backing himself to sort of control that cue ball, really working on his patterns and picking the routes. And it was actually fascinating to see him sort of, pick finishes apart. Similar to this one, he needed a couple of nudges to get it going, but pick it apart from there. Back that cue ball and close control.
Well, the thing that Dave will really have in his arsenal, you'll feel, is a good touch around the table. He does really put in the time and the hours, and he should really have that feel.
Gone through this one really nicely. Once he'd opened it up, come up with a really nice route, and leaves himself with a couple of simple connecting shots.
Yeah, he certainly has. It's been very good. Right. 2-1 in front goes Dave McNamara. First matches of the night for all the players are always so important. Really helps set the tone, and just means you don't have to chase and come back. Just saw Dave go over to Tom there and said, "What do you reckon? Dry break?" Both have been struggling.
Yeah, it would be before straight. We've had 3 straight. After the first frame taking a few minutes out of the match clock, the next 2 have both been clearances off the break, so it feels quite key.
Yeah, it certainly does. Oh, golden duck. Oh, wow, it stayed up. Ooh. That was tracking.
Wow.
Believe it or not, Dave McNamara is a lucky boy.
These exploded on him as well. He hit these really well, but yeah, cue ball. To be honest, it's a bit unlucky because it's not far off the sort of window you're looking for, right at the middle of the table. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, Tom Ford already at his work. That was very nearly a golden duck. We very rarely see those. It's cue ball and 8-ball in off the break will lose you a frame.
It would be quite strange as well, because McNamara is one of those players that will cut break to try and get that 8-ball in motion. He does it a lot, and I asked him before the night started whether he would, and he said he's not going to initially because he's hitting the front break so well at the moment. But it would be slightly odd if he made the 8-ball front ball breaking because of that, especially if the cue ball goes in as well. Exactly what he wouldn't want.
You see a close-up of the Tom Ford cue. I was asking him about this actually a little bit earlier on. A few of you may be wondering at home, is he using his snooker cue? No, he's using his English 8-ball cue. A 2-piece classic, decades old it is. And we talked about this a little bit when he played in the Pro Cup, but it's extraordinary that he has the success that he does with it, put it this way. We had some real fun with him because after he won his match, we were having a little chat in the studio with himself and our Aussie professional, Jake McCartney, and Jake heard the story, and the 2 of them got chatting and had a little bit of a bash out on the main arena table. Jake got down on the shot to play a shot with Tom's cue and just burst out laughing and said, I can't believe what you've just done with this.
Yeah, I was out there actually and had a few shots with myself, and I can play pretty bad with any cue you give me, but even this one was even particularly tough to play with, to be honest with you. It was amazing what he can do with it.
Yeah, if you offered plenty of the professionals a choice whether to use the cue that Tom's about to pick up right now or a racker from any club in the land, they'd pick the latter, trust me. But so it's a funny old thing, isn't it, with players, that it becomes what you're used to. It's part of the muscle memory, and Tom, you can't argue with the results. He knows what he's doing with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, he's got feel with it. Well, finally we've seen a successful break, and it's Tom now with a chance to go in front at the right time. These are all there for him. You feel like he wants to take both the two at the bottom of the table first and then go up. The one at the top connects to the 8 ball better than the other two do. But it's whether he can leave himself the angle to do that. Yeah, make your mind up time, Tom. So does decide to go up the table, and he's put himself in no man's land, I think. Just a roll or two too far here. It's a thin clip back and a slightly tough control of the cue ball all of a sudden. Oh, that's brilliant. That's so good. That was not that easy. Kills the cue ball, clipping that in thin, made it off the thick part of the pocket.
Yeah, stunner. Lovely, lovely shot.
Looks at the match clock, shakes his head, and then knocks the 8 ball in. He's a great character, Tom.
He's almost a little bit like, no, what am I doing? Why am I worrying about that?
Yeah, I think he was shaking his head. I'm not sure what I should be doing here. Should I be waiting or not? And I'm not sure he should, to be honest with you. At 3:22 and McNamara's break, he could probably do with having as much time on the clock as possible. Of course, if McNamara now comes up dry, that's the time to take your time. But if you're expecting your opponent to make a break clearance, for example, if McNamara does here, he'd love there to be another minute and a half left on the clock so that he could do the same again in the final potential deciding frame.
Yeah, it's such difficult maths to do, though, when you're out there.
Oh, yeah.
In the heat of the moment. Dave on the cut break, and that was tracking. He's made a ball. It's an absolutely amazing break. And
yeah,
these reds are right there.
Yeah, these are all there. One good shot, you feel, to get on the red at the top of the table. Potentially his last positional shot.
That is almost as good as a golden break, that.
They all connect really nicely, apart from, as I say, that one shot. And there's plenty of room to play that one shot. You can get on that red from distance as well, so it's not like you have to be precise with it. Just has to be careful here. This isn't as easy as it looks. He doesn't want to come past the straight. Oh, he misses the pot because of the hampered cueing. It is a horrible layout on yellows here, but what can Tom do? Certainly going to use as much of the clock as possible. Might work against him if he doesn't manage to mess the frame up, because he may want that in the next frame, as we already talked about. Can he get into those yellows? Oh, that's not worked out well at all. It's an absolute disaster for him.
Yeah, Dave McNamara with a massive let-off. And it's in Dave's interest here to clear these up pretty quickly.
It also might be in Tom's, though. I guess it depends on what happens off the next break.
It does. Lovely finish. Job done in that respect. And Dave McNamara simply says, over to you.
Yeah, big break coming up. And as I said in the middle of that frame, that 30 seconds that Tom took on his shots in that, or the only shot he played, but he called his extension as well. he'd love to have that right now.
Oh, yeah.
Now he's got 124, which is enough time for a break clearance, and I guess it comes down to whether he makes a ball or not, whether he gets the chance or McNamara gets the chance. But 145 feels a lot better than 125. See this a lot from players, but especially when McNamara's playing, he loves to have a little chat out there. Tom's had 3 breaks so far, 2 of them dry. The last one was successful and he did clear it up. So good memories, but he changes to the cut break. Oh. Didn't hit them particularly well, but he's going to make a ball and, wow, look at this chance. Well, it looks like he's going to go yellows, but I quite like reds, but personal preference here, the yellows aren't bad either. Changes his mind, goes reds. Ooh, just grazed the red on the way through. That could have gone wrong, but now he can fly.
Yeah, that's fine. In a strange way, this is plenty of time.
It is.
Not that it will seem it.
Yeah, and this is just natural. Float it into the sort of left half of the table, not far from where he is now. Yeah.
Yeah, Dave McNamara knows, so too does Tom Ford. Cracker, that one, we thought it might be. And it's Tom who gets the victory. 20 seconds left on the watch as he takes it down in the decider by 4 frames to 3.